Councilwoman Parson?
Here.
Councilwoman Fox?
Here.
Councilwoman Horton?
Here.
Councilman Smith?
Here.
Councilwoman Taylor? Mayor Pro Tem Cornman?
Here.
Mayor Davis?
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Any member of the city council may disclose any possible conflict of interest dealing with either any item on the printed agenda or with any matter discussed at a previous meeting. Seeing none, we will move to our citizens' input portion of the meeting. Each person in the audience may take this opportunity to address the city council on any matter which is not on the printed agenda. I believe we have a Miss Joanne Jones. If you'd like to speak to the council, please approach the podium and state your name and address and address the council.
Good evening. My name is Joanne Jones. My address is 713 Ethel. And I would like to bring up an issue, stop sign. I live on Ethel Street and there's a Davis and Garfield, I believe. But, you know, and I saw a kid almost got hit this evening. But anyway, you can't see, you know, you got two-way stop sign, but coming one way, you have to pull almost in the street to see, you know, the other vehicle coming. It's like a blind side. And that's at Garfield and Davis. And we've seen quite a few mishaps there, you know, but that's what I would like to comment on.
You would like
Thank
a
you.
four-way stop?
The four-way stop, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your input on that, Ms. Jones. Any questions or comments? Not, we'll refer this to our city manager to
We'll take a look at that, yes, sir.
Okay, if there's no other citizen input here, we'll move on to our workshop portion of the meeting. Item A representative from Buessink, Roe and Stroder LLC CPAs will appear before the city council to present the audit for the city of Poplar, Bluff and municipal utilities for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2021. Mr. Winters, would you like to introduce our auditor?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Jeff Stroder with our auditing firm is here this evening. This is the second audit they've done for us, and so we appreciate him coming over and being with us tonight to present their audit for 2021.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We're very happy to be able to visit with you and go over the report. I'll try to give you a plain English version of what's in that document that you received from us. Now, those of you who've heard me talk before or familiar with governmental financial statements, this will look a little familiar. But as you know, we have three reports that we issue. The first report that we issue explains, and I won't go over every detail of it, but it explains that the city's responsible for the financial statements. My job as the auditor is to give an opinion on whether or not they're fairly stated. That report goes on for about 4 pages. There's a lot of new information in it this year. There have been some changes in the way that's reported. But the basic information is exactly the same as it was before. It explains that it's my opinion that the city's financial statements fairly represent the financial condition of the city in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. That's the specific sentence that's in there that makes it an unmodified report or a clean opinion. That's the opinion that you want on your financial statements. It goes on to explain, like I said, several other things. In addition to there being supplementary information in the back of the financial statements, additional information, not actually part of the financial statements, but we've applied procedures to that information as well, and we believe that our opinion extends to that also. Now, it does explain that whenever I conduct an audit in accordance with government auditing standards, which we did, that we issue a second report on the financial statements, and that has to do with the city's internal controls over how we accumulate and process information to be able to prepare the financial statements. And that report also deals with compliance with various laws and contracts and grant agreements and regulations that the city has to adhere to. And we had 3 things that we pointed out in the area of the internal controls that we wanted to mention. The first one had to do with supervisory approval of timesheets. And I know we talked about this last year. The problem was, by the time we talked about it last year, we were already halfway through the year that we're auditing now. So we did see that that was continuing to happen early in the year. After the recommendation had been discussed with the city, we found that recommendation we made last year was implemented. So we were happy to see that. The second issue with the internal controls we wanted to point out, there were a couple of errors that had been made. Now, it used to be, under the old auditing rules, that as long as if we found an error, we recommended a correction, and we fixed the financial statements, and we moved right along, everything was no harm, no foul. The rules changed a few years back now, and they tell me, as the auditor, that if we have to make a significant adjustment, that means something didn't work the way it was supposed to. So unfortunately, we found 2 mistakes. It's our judgment. These did not look to be anything that were intentional or anything that we're trying to cover anything. The first one simply had to do with, we had some revenues that was recorded in the wrong year. It happened right around cutoff of the end of the years, and should have been recorded in the previous year, got recorded in the year we were auditing. The second had to do with some transactions that were the city's transactions, but the money did not come through the city. It was being handled on behalf of the city. It had to do with the construction, the highway construction. It was the proceeds of some debt, and it was all handled on behalf of the city by the administrators, and it just didn't get recorded in the financial statement. So it turned out to be about $1.7 million, and we suggested we record the revenue, record the expense for the exact same amount. It didn't have any effect on the bottom line of the financial statements. So our recommendation was simply, we just need to make sure we capture all of those transactions. The last recommendation we had about the internal controls had to do with the bank reconciliation processes. There were some errors made during the process of just trying to reconcile the bank statements back to the financial statements themselves. So we just recommended that those need to be tied out efficiently every month. So I believe we've even had some change in personnel now that are taking care of those duties, and my understanding is that that's also taken care of, and everything's should be good for going forward. Now, the financial statements themselves, I know you're aware of the financial statements, and it's been a little while since these were current, so I'm not going to bore you with the details of going back over your financial statements tonight. I know you've got plenty to do without me standing here and talking about those numbers. So I'll get to the third report that we issued, the last report that I mentioned earlier. When the city spends more than $750,000 of federal dollars, then the federal government requires a whole nother level of audit. And that's what the third report has to do with. The total federal expenditures were just over $3.9 million, and I'm required to audit at least 20% of that in detail. So we chose the airport improvement program. The expenditures from that program were about $3.3 million, so it was almost half of the federal expenditures through this program. And the federal government tells me they've got specific compliance requirements that they want me to check for this particular grant. And they also want to know about your internal controls over compliance with those requirements. So we spent a lot of time working with the costs. We were doing statistical samples to find out whether the expenditures were in accordance with what's required for that grant. We looked at the recording of property additions that were purchased with the dollars. We looked at matching requirements for the program. We looked at reporting requirements that on how the money was spent back to MoDOT, where the money came from. And we found no instances of non-compliance with any of the requirements we were checking. We also found that for each compliance requirement, there were specific internal controls in place that were designed to address those to ensure that we had no problems. And we found that they were appropriately designed and that they were operating the way they were supposed to. So we had a clean opinion for the compliance with the federal requirements. And again, that's the one you want for that. So that's a very quick nutshell version of what was in that audit report. You know, I would be glad to offer any explanations if anybody has any questions about what we found or what we were doing or how we went about what we were doing.
We appreciate you and your staff's work. It's unfortunate. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure working with Sasha and having her and her staff in the office, and they do a great job, and we appreciate the effort they put in. I know we had some road bumps to get us all started, but everything worked out in the end smoothly. And
Right. Well, I want to be sure and tell you this. A lot of the places where I meet with the board, this is where I thank you and I just go ahead and exit the meeting. But when this is the case, I like to make sure and tell you something, you know, about what we found. And we got the opportunity to be here every day for a few weeks at a time. And I don't know if you get a chance to see how everything operates on a day-to-day basis, but all the people that we worked with, and let me tell you, it was an extensive list. It's a lot of involvement to be able to pull off an audit for a city of the size of Poplar Bluff. But every single person that we worked with was very professional, very courteous, very helpful to get us the answers that we were looking for. We really appreciate that. I like to say that it makes our life easier as an auditor. I tell you that not because I want you to be happy that my life was so easy while we were conducting the audit, but it's a byproduct for an auditor. If things go well, it's because the people you're auditing have accountability for what they've done, and that's what I wanted you to take away from those comments.
Very good.
Well, it's a fascinating read if you get a chance to read all the details of that report. But if you ever would come up with any questions or would just like to know anything more about what we've done or what we've said in that report, Mr. Matt knows how to get a hold of us, and we'd be happy to visit with you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you all
much,
very
sir.
much.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the FY 2021 audit for the city of Poplar Bluff and the municipal utilities as presented tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The fiscal year 2021 audit has been accepted. Item B, the city council will consider an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute supplemental agreement number 1 to the engineering services contract with Smith & Company Engineers Incorporated relative to the Wolf Creek Trail project number TAP 5100 012. Mr. Winters?
I'm going to give it a shot, and if I miss anything, Dominic Thompson from Smith & Company can come back me up. So this item is an extension for the engineering work related to the Wolf Creek Trail project that's funded by MoDOT's Transportation Alternatives Program, the Chamber of, and the Chamber of Commerce. The extension requested is from May 31st, 2022 to January 31st, 2024. This extension is based on the need for additional time to complete the right-of-way acquisition. The amendment also adds $10,568.92 to the project, and all the local match that is required on this project is being covered by the Chamber of Commerce.
Make a motion to move it to the voting session until February 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, the city council will consider an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute supplemental agreement number 1 to the Transportation Enhancement Funds agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission relative to the Wolf Creek Trail project number TAP 5100-012. Mr. Winters?
So this is in regards to the same project, of course, and this amendment sets the date of July 31st, 2024 for the construction to begin.
Make a motion, move to the voting session be held on February the 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, the city council will consider an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for engineering services with Smith and Company Engineers Incorporated relative to the downtown infrastructure improvements project, number TAP 5100013. Mr. Winters?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a few months ago, the city was awarded a grant, again through MoDOT's Transportation Enhancement Program, Alternative Program. It's changed its name 6 times, I think, in the last 2 years. Anyway, to replace the sidewalks along Vine Street from 5th to Broadway and to also relocate the overhead utilities. This item is to approve the contract for engineering with Smith and Company for that project. The design fees are $48,556.65, and construction inspection is $32,457.76. This grant is a 80% grant and 20% local match.
And we already have that 20% budgeted in our,
Yes.
make a motion to send this to the voting session held February 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E, the city council will consider change order number 4 relative to the Poplar Bluff Police Station project. Mr. Winters?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the fourth and final change order for the police station project. This change order includes revising some sinks. That was an addition of $1,059.12. Hauling in topsoil for the site, which was $14,402.05. Revising some of the glass shelving that's in the display case in the lobby, that was $326. And installing some LVT flooring in one of the front little interview rooms at $1,410. With this being the last change order, the remaining balance of the $350,000 of the owner's allowance that was included in the project is being credited back. That amount being credited back is $100,962.33. So with that credit, this actually a negative change order of a credit back of $100,962.33. And just to kind of also, I'll add to this, we're quickly approaching closing out this project. We got a couple more invoices that we're waiting on some materials for that they'll wrap up pretty quick, and then the last thing will be to pay out the retainage that we owe to Brock Miller. So it's very nearing the completion of this and the final closeout. They've been the walkthroughs. Like I said, just basically waiting on a couple pieces of equipment and some material to come in to kind of finish it all out. So excited to finally get this behind us and move on. And, working on some balances to be able to figure out exactly after we pay that retainage amount where we'll be with how far under budget the project will actually finish up at. So.
Make a motion, move to the voting session February 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F, the city council will consider a request to use American Rescue Plan Act funds for the purchase of 6 basketball goals for the Black River Coliseum. Mr. Winters?
So we have, I sent out some pictures the other day to y'all. The first basketball floor is done. We expect delivery of the floors to be in the middle of March, around the 13th of March, I think is kind of the date we're looking at. We've been working with Lanny and Greg to coordinate that delivery and storage and moving some stuff around inside for all of it. So anyway, as that day gets closer, we do need to kind of, we need some basketball goals for our 3 basketball courts. So we need 6 basketball goals. The cost of those goals is $89,500. Just to kind of as a, kind of a recap of where we're at as far as the overall project of that goes. You committed $484,800 to purchase the 3 new floors. The Parks Department has purchased floor covers and dividers for the flooring for $90,000. Like everything else, everything's delayed and everything takes longer. So I am asking that you workshop and vote on this tonight so we can get these ordered. Lanny is here. If you have any questions for Lanny, I think that if you ask him for questions, he may do cartwheels down the aisle as he comes up to
Questions,
talk.
please, I want to see that.
We want to see the cartwheel.
Yes.
This has been an exciting, Lanny and I have been really excited about this. It's exciting tonight to come in and see all the folks out here playing volleyball tonight, the youth volleyball. We have pickleball in here. I think they've got pickleball scheduled at least 2 days this week. To add these floorings, it's really going to increase the usage of this facility, which is what it was built for, to be used on a regular basis. It's not just the basketball, these floors are also striped out for volleyball tournaments and volleyball games too. So the closer it gets, the more excited Lanny and I are getting about this. It's really going to be fun to sit and watch some basketball tournaments being played in the Coliseum. We're really excited about it. So
I've talked to several people that have young kids that they have to travel here and yonder for these tournaments and stuff, and they're very excited that we're taking this step that they'll be able to have things here, stay here.
Yes.
They'll bring money to our city and go somewhere else.
Do we have the equipment to use this as a volleyball?
Yes.
We already have that equipment?
Yes. Yeah, we already have the poles and the nets and everything. Yeah. Yeah. Here he comes.
Come on up here, Lanny.
Yeah, keep talking about it. Not
I know, I'm just gonna give a little update. Lanny Corchmelia, Parks and Rec Director. So it is really exciting because the last time that we talked about this was actually getting the floors, and then now we're getting all the extras that go with it. But this company with the basketball goals as well as the dividers and the floor coverings, they're in Missouri. They're not in Minnesota or in Indianapolis, so they're going to help us install all of this stuff. And if we have anything, again, it's a 2-hour trip, not somewhere across the country. And then the flooring should be delivered that week, as Mr. Winter said, March 13th, and then we will end up storing them and then wait for the gymnastics meet that is April 1st, the weekend of April 1st. Once they clear their stuff out, we'll probably be able to put the floor down for a few months and be ready for basketball tournaments and other stuff. So Robbins will come back down in March or in April and help us put it down, and then also talk about as far as storing it, which we're going to store it initially whenever we get it here, just because they're going to have the rodeo March 4th and 5th. So, and they'll have the Coliseum covered with obviously mounds and mounds of dirt. So, but anyway, it is really exciting. I know you guys got some pictures of it. Again, I won't keep talking about it, but just the things are really starting to come together, and as far as just in general, and Matt and I talk about it a lot. It's the first time probably in years that Parks and Rec and the city of Poplar Bluff have been on the same page for many, many months, years, however you want to put it. And I can't thank you all enough for the backing you've had for us as well. So anyway.
Like we talked about, they're going to train people here to put this thing down, pick it up, to make sure it's not damaged.
Correct.
And that's,
Correct. And Greg we've had the floor, the main floor here for years, and I think they used it a little bit more when it first opened than they do now. So Greg's experienced in being able to store it in carts and how high they go and where we can put it. So it's really, really exciting.
Great work.
And we got the pool ready, the golf course ready, McLean Park ready, we have the Coliseum,
we're ready.
Wiley Park's ready to go. We're ready to go.
This is
You can
gonna,
come swimming. Okay, all right.
About backflip.
Back handspring. Any other questions?
this is gonna pretty well wrap up what you need for this project.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you
Yes, sir.
very much.
You bet.
Proud of you, Lanny.
Motion
I make a motion to move to tonight's voting session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Action required items, item AA, bill number 8446. The city council will take action on an ordinance approving change order number 4 relative to the industrial park infrastructure project number 2020 ED01.
Motion for first reading of bill number 8446.
Set.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 4 relating to the Poplar Bluff Manufacturing Infrastructure Project along State Highway 142 in Poplar Bluff.
Motion for second reading of bill 8446.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 4 relating to the Poplar Bluff Manufacturing Infrastructure Project along Highway 142 in Poplar Bluff.
Motion for adoption of bill number 8446.
Second.
Any questions, comments? None. Roll call. Clerk Phelps.
Councilwoman Parson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cornman,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Bill number 8446 has been adopted. Item BB, bill number 8447, the city council will take action on an ordinance approving a request to vacate a 10 by 100 foot alleyway lying between lots 7, 8, 11, and 12 of Kinzer and Mingles subdivision. The applicant is the United Gospel Rescue Mission, P.O. Box 924, Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Motion for first reading of bill 8447.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance abandoning an existing right-of-way in the Kinzer and Mingles subdivision in the city of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for second reading of bill number 8447.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance abandoning an existing right-of-way in the Kinzer and Mingles subdivision in the city of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for adoption of bill 8447.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? If not, roll call. Clerk Phelps.
Councilwoman Fox,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cornman,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Bill number 8447 has been adopted. Item CC, bill number 8448. The city council will take action on an ordinance amending the City of Poplar Bluff Code of City Ordinances, Section 605210, relative to inspection requirements for eating and drinking establishments by the Butler County Health Department.
Motion for first reading of bill 8448.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor?
An ordinance amending the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri Code of City Ordinances, Section 605210, relating to the Butler County Health Department inspections for eating and drinking establishments in the city of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for second reading of bill number 8448.
Second.
All in, questions or comments? If none, roll call. Clerk Phelps.
No, second reading.
Okay. Second reading counts.
Am I recognized for the second reading?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second reading counts.
An ordinance amending the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri Code of City Ordinances, Section 605210, relating to Butler County Health Department inspections for eating and drinking establishments in the city of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for adoption of bill 8448.
Second.
Questions or comments? If none, roll call. Clerk Phelps.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox, Mayor Pro Tem Cornman.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Bill number 8448 has been adopted. Item DD, Bill number 8449, the City Council will take action on an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a work swap agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission.
Motion for first reading of bill number 8449.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Poplar Bluff to enter into a work swap agreement between the city of Poplar Bluff and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission.
Motion for second reading of Bill 8449.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Poplar Bluff to enter into a work swap agreement between the city of Poplar Bluff and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission.
Motion for adoption of bill number 8449.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Clerk Phelps, roll call.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cornman.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Bill number 8449 has been adopted. Item EE, Bill number 8450, the City Council will take action on an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 6 basketball goals for the Black River Coliseum with the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Motion for first reading of bill number 8450.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor?
An ordinance accepting a proposal from Butte Company of St. Louis, Missouri for the purchase of basketball goals and related equipment for the Black River Coliseum in the city of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for second reading of Bill 8450.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor?
An ordinance accepting a proposal from the Butte Company of St. Louis, Missouri for the purchase of basketball goals and related equipment for the Black River Coliseum in the city of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for adoption of bill number 8450.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, Clerk Phelps.
Councilwoman Parson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cornman.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Bill number 8450 has been adopted. Item FF, resolution number 2002, the City Council will take action on a resolution adopting the 2023 Butler County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Motion for reading of Resolution 2002.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Poplar Bluff adopting the 2023 Butler County Hazard Mitigation Plan and authorizing the mayor and city officials to execute all documents related thereto.
Motion for adoption of resolution 2002.
Second.
Questions, comments? If none, roll call, Clerk Phelps.
Councilwoman Fox,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cornman,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
6 yes votes.
Resolution number 2002 has been adopted. Do we have a closed meeting,
No, sir.
Manager? Okay. And do you have a report?
I just wanted to give a shout out to the street department, first of all, for all the work they did this last week dealing with the ice. You know, it's snow's a lot easier to clean off streets than ice is, so they had a struggle there for a few days trying to make any headway with it. You know, not only the street department and all their guys, that you know, we also had fire and police and utility workers that were also on duty throughout that whole entire weather event, responding to calls and dealing with issues, and they all did a fantastic job, and I appreciate the the dedication and hard work of all of our staff, but those folks that put in the 24-hour shifts last week and were always on call and on duty, taking care of our citizens, I appreciate them and what they did last week, so.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, if there's no further business, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
I felt like you looked like you were done, so.